This morning we gather to launch the Namibia Financial Sector Transformation Strategy 2025 to 2035. And in so doing, commit to building a financial system that is dynamic, a system that's inclusive and attuned to the realities of our country. This strategy is the product of broad collaboration and is guided by a clear sense of purpose to ensure that the financial sector contributes towards economic growth, strengthens macroeconomic stability, advances financial inclusion, and fulfills the developmental aspirations of Namibia and its people. Welcome to the Bank of Namibia. Today is more than a ceremonial occasion. It is a deliberate act of national design. We gather not to celebrate the status quo, but to redefine the role of finance in Namibia, not as an abstract system, but as a foundation for economic empowerment, a catalyst for innovation, and a driver of inclusive growth. The Namibian financial system is confronting what I call the 2035 pivot, balancing between development and stability on the one hand and preparing for the new world on the other. Despite a challenging and unpredictable external environment, the country's economy has shown resilience, with headline inflation slowing and an improved external position. Today's launch takes place against the backdrop of a triple pivot: a technological pivot driven by intelligent technologies, you can call them artificial intelligence, quantum computing, machine learning; a regulatory pivot marked by the rise of smart regulation; and a historical pivot shaped by profound geopolitical policy shifts, climatic swings, and evolving consumer preferences. This convergence calls for sober reflection and bold action. Namibia can be an economic success story, but only if we transform the financial sector and decisively confront our structural economic challenges. My welcome remarks are structured in three brief parts, and it's really brief. First, I'll offer a cursory reflection of our financial sector reality and the legacy of the 2009 Financial Sector Charter. Second, I'll provide an overview of the financial soundness indicators. And third, I will share a few reflections on preparing the financial sector for the future, in the spirit of what Paul Valery reminds us, that the future is not what is going to happen, but what we are going to do in transforming the financial sector in the country. Namibia's financial system is stable, is sound, and is modern, serving the formal and urban economy effectively. However, more must be done to deepen financial inclusion, particularly in the informal and the rural economy. The non-bank financial sector holds the majority of financial assets, and over the past 3 decades, the financial system's debt, as measured by broad money, that's the M2, and private sector credit relative to gross domestic product, has steadily increased. Notably, the scale of financial intermediation in Namibia is relatively high compared to many developing countries across the African continent. Our commitment to transformation is anchored in a robust financial system. Key indicators of Namibia's financial sector show strength across capital adequacy, asset quality, liquidity, profitability, and risk exposure. The implementation of the 2.5% capital conservation buffer in 2024 further enhances resilience. This foundation shows us to pursue transformation confidently without compromising financial stability. If you really look at capital adequacy across the financial sector in the country, our assessment that it is strong. If you look at asset quality and use NPLs or non-performing loans as a measure thereof, it's satisfactory. Liquidity coverage in terms of adequate buffers maintained, it's robust. Profitability in terms of returns, whether you look at ROEs and ROIs, that is healthy. And if you look at market risk exposure, it's well managed at this stage. Globally, the past decade has transformed the financial landscape. Digital technology has reshaped how people engage with money, fintech, and blurred the lines of traditional financial services, and sustainable finances emerge as a defining imperative. Namibia has not been immune. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated digital adoption, but also exposed critical gaps in inclusion and in adaptability. The lesson is clear. The future will not wait. We must take the lead in shaping the future. The Bank of Namibia conducted an in-depth evaluation of the performance of the Namibia financial sector transformation strategy over period 2011 till 2021. A cursory review of the financial sector charter, signed voluntarily by the financial sector in May 2009, reveals disappointing results. I was on the other side at that time, and I was chairing the financial sector charter for the private sector. And voluntarily we said, come over the next 10 years, we as the financial sector will make sure that across the 5 pillars we have agreed, we will do what is necessary to do. We signed in terms of ownership, we'll do 25.1%, voluntarily. And if you look back now and have a look at that, I'll probably share that with you. It's quite disappointing if you look at the results. One can only hope that the institutions which continue to lag behind will take the necessary steps to align their operations with national development goals, contribute meaningfully to economic growth, and play their part in reducing inequality. It's so sad that after 35 years of independence, or after the expiration of the first period of the previous transformations strategy, that you still have got companies that are 100% owned or foreign owned in the financial sector. And if there is a movement around that, people will blame government or people will blame the country. Although ownership has been taken out of what the country says now in terms of transformation, we probably need to start thinking about whether we shouldn't use our procurement so that companies regard that as a business imperative rather than complying with ownership requirements. The transformation assessment of Namibia's financial sector revealed mixed progress across key pillars. Ownership and control remains a persistent challenge, with performance at just 20% against a 25.1% target. While the gap may appear modest, it represents the continued exclusion of thousands of Namibians from meaningful ownership in one of the country's most influential sectors. Management and control presents a deeper concern, with only 30% progress towards a 50% target. This shortfall not only limits diversity in leadership, but undermines the sector's ability to reflect the strategic insights and lived realities of Namibia's diverse population. Skills development lags furthest behind, achieving only 35% against the target of 60%. As one of the more attainable transformation goals, this 25% percentage point gap highlights a troubling lack of investment in talent development from historically disadvantaged groups. Preferential procurement has seen moderate progress at 27% of a 41% target, yet it remains an underutilized lever for inclusive growth. In sharp contrast, enterprise and supply development has been a standout success, surpassing its target by more than 20-fold. This exceptional performance underscores a critical truth, where commitment and accountability align and transformation is not only possible, it is powerful. So if you look at what happened historically between 2011 and 2021 and said, what happened on ownership and control, and you rank it now, the status is red against the targets. If you look at management control, the status is red. If you look at skills development and rank it, the status is red. If you look at preferential procurement, you'll see the status is red. If you look at enterprise supply development and rank the status, it is green. So we have got mixed results, and we can only call upon financial institutions to do what they have signed up to do voluntarily, and what they said 10 years ago we will do. Our role as the Bank of Namibia extends far beyond price stability. The Namibian financial sector transformation strategy is not the Bank of Namibia's alone. It's a national blueprint crafted in partnership with the Ministry of Finance, NAMFISA, financial institutions and civil society. It embodies a shared conviction that a strong, inclusive and future-ready financial system is not a privilege, but a prerequisite for Namibia's long-term prosperity. I trust that today's panel discussion on the importance of the financial sector will offer fresh insights and present innovative ideas as we explore new frontiers in the financial sector. Emerging challenges in macroprudential policy compel us to rethink how we safeguard financial stability in a rapidly evolving world. Since the start of the 21st century, extraordinary events, including major financial crises, a global pandemic, a resurgence of inflation, and rising trade tensions, have significantly reshaped the landscape of monetary policy making. In this context, coherence across policy domains is not optional. It is essential to ensure the enduring achievement of both macroeconomic and financial stability. Ladies and gentlemen, the path ahead will not lead us to a straight green oasis. It will remain challenging, but it is a journey we must walk with purpose. At the heart of our vision is the digital transformation of Namibia's financial infrastructure. Through the Bank of Namibia Strategic Plan 2025-2027, we are positioning Namibia at the forefront of African financial innovations. We are not merely adopting digital tools, we are pioneering homegrown solutions that can serve as models across the continent. One such innovation is our instant payment system, set to launch in late 2025. This is more than just faster transactions. It is about democratizing access to financial services and empowering every Namibian to participate fully in our digital economy. Our participation in Project Sunbird, a cross-border payments initiative under the Common Monetary Area, reinforces our commitment to regional financial integration. Through our regulatory sandbox, we continue to cultivate a space where innovation and responsibility grow together. These initiatives form part of our broader ambition to build Namibia's digital public finance infrastructure, or DBI, advancing open banking, interoperable QR codes, and financial literacy. As we move forward, our goal is clear: to embrace technological progress without leaving anyone behind. What's a vision for 2035 that we see? What do we see when we look ahead? We envision a financial system that is inclusive by design, one where barriers to access are dismantled, and every Namibian, regardless of distance or circumstance, can participate fully in economic life. We see a system that is agile, a system that is innovative, leveraging technology not as an end in itself, but as a tool to deliver services that are efficient, affordable, and relevant to the needs of our people. This is not a distant dream, but an achievable reality if we act with clarity, commitment, and unity. Having said that, we must constantly remind ourselves that whilst technology can be a useful servant, it can also become a dangerous master if left unchecked. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, as we journey through this transformation of our financial sector, I remain an optimist, drawing inspiration from Martin Luther, who said, and I'm quoting Martin Luther, "Everything that is done in the world is done by hope," unquote. But I'm also a realist, and in the sense, Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, reminds us that, and I quote Kant, "Using reason without applying it to experience only leads to theoretical illusion," unquote. It is my sincere hope that we are entering a new era, a decade of transformation rooted in experience, driven by reason, and aligned to Namibia's aspirations.